Good morning, everybody. I have a short but significant update regarding the Law Commission's recommendations to Parliament about changes to legal marriage, and I'm doing this somewhat off the hoof because there's some very new news that's come out in the last couple of days. So I'm not all in the posh studio. I'm just doing this as we have the information. So, couple of weeks ago, on Tuesday the 15th, there was a meeting between Wedding Celebrancy Commission members and several members of Parliament. One of the purposes of that was to discuss a letter that's been sent by Humanists UK to many members of Parliament, in fact most, basically saying you don't need to do all of this review. We could save a lot of time and effort. The legislation allows the government to just add humanists to the current legislation, and all of this problem goes away. And this just continues Humanists UK attempt to completely cut everybody else out of what's going on. It's actually a bit more pernicious than that. It isn't about just independent celebrants. Currently, the legislation discriminates against everybody who isn't Church of England, Roman Catholic, Quaker, or Jewish. So, Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus, lots of faith groups and independents are discriminated against by the existing legislation. And the humanists have shown time and time again they have no interest in everybody else. They just want to get themselves added to the list. So the outcome of this meeting that was held on the 15th was that a great deal of clarity was achieved. The MPs understood the different, or the MPs that were there, because it wasn't all of them, obviously, understood there's a big difference between humanists and ourselves. It was a good conversation, and I think those MPs who were there got it. I think they will be on our side in the future. They're assisting us. The MPs that were there are assisting the Wedding Celebrancy Commission in setting up what's called an all-party parliamentary group, a group of MPs who are interested in what we as independent celebrants do and who will help us be represented to the government. Now, a couple of days ago, bear in mind all of this has happened while I've been in hospital having a kidney stone removed, so I've been trying to catch up on this whilst it's all been going on. On the 29th of November, Baroness Blackstone asked a question in the House of Lords. Excuse me if I'm looking just above you because that's where my notes are. Asking why the government can't just add humanists to the existing legislation. And there was an interesting discussion that followed. If you like parliamentary shenanigans, and I'll put a link to the text of it. It highlighted the lack of understanding, especially of members of the House of Lords, the lack of understanding of the distinction between Humanists UK, humanists with a capital H, humanists who are members of the Humanists Society, as a belief organisation, essentially as a faith, and independent celebrants and everybody else. The government's response was really interesting. Lord Bellamy repeated several times that the government did not want to solve the problem just for one group, that the government wanted to solve the problem for everybody. And that's really interesting because it shows that the government understand that the humanists, capital H, don't speak for us all, and that they are actually a narrow group of interest, a narrow interest group within this whole thing. The government want to solve the problem for everybody, the Buddhists, the Muslims, Hindus, all of the groups, not just Church of England, Catholics, Quakers, Jews, and humanists. And that's clearly what the humanists are trying to do. We are expecting an initial response from the government into the Law Commission's report they're saying in the first part of next year. It could be anything. But the clear indication from Lord Bellamy is that they are looking to implement the whole of the Law Commission's report pretty much as it stands, which is great news for us. It's hugely encouraging. What they're clearly not planning to do is just tag humanists on to the existing legislation. So, what does this all mean for us? Progress is being made and the pace is beginning to pick up. Things are beginning to move. I don't mean weeks, I don't mean months. It is still likely to be a year or two, especially given the state of politics in the UK at the moment. But as soon as we know any more, we will be in touch. And there will be a time where we want to ask all of you to write to your MPs, but now is not yet that moment. We will let you know when it is, and we will encourage you. Julie and I are still very active within the Wedding Celebrity Commission. We've got a meeting this evening to discuss these latest developments, and if there's anything that comes out of that, we'll let you know. But for the moment, really quite encouraged to see that the government have seen through the humanists' sort of particularly narrow view of how things should be updated. Thank you all. And thanks for all the messages of well-wishing. As I've been getting better, I'm feeling much more human and much less pain. Talk to you all soon. Bye.